tell you something I've learned after 25 years of practicing medicine. 3 ordinary vegetables, the kind you can grab at any grocery store in America for under $10, hold more power to restore your energy, your circulation, and yes, your performance in the bedroom than most of the prescriptions I see men your age walking out of pharmacies with every single day. I'm Dr. Chloe Bennett. I've spent the last quarter century sitting across from men just like you. Men in their 60s, 70s, even their 80s. Men who walked into my office convinced they were broken, convinced their best days were behind them. And what I'm about to share with you today isn't some miracle pill. It isn't some expensive supplement I'm trying to sell you. And it sure as heck isn't something you need a prescription for. It's food, real food, the kind your grandmother probably had growing in her backyard. Now, before I tell you what these 3 vegetables are, I need you to understand something. Because if you don't understand this one thing, nothing else I say today will matter. Your decline, that slowing down you've been feeling, that fog in your head in the morning, that lack of get up and go, that soft middle that won't budge no matter how many crunches you do, that fading spark in the bedroom that makes you feel like a stranger in your own skin. Most of that, it has almost nothing to do with your age. I'll say that again because it took me years of medical school and 2.5 decades in practice to really believe it myself. Your age is not the enemy. Poor circulation is the enemy. Missing nutrients are the enemy. Inflammation you can't even feel is the enemy. And here's the good news, folks. All 3 of those things can be addressed with what you put on your plate tonight. So let me cut to the chase, because I know one of the things men have told me over the years is that they don't have patience for a 20-minute runaround. I respect your time. You've earned that respect. The 3 vegetables are beets, spinach, and sweet potatoes. That's it. Simple, cheap, already at your local Publix, Kroger, Safeway, or Walmart. You don't need to drive to some fancy health food store. You don't need to order anything online. You don't need a coach or a program. Now, let me tell you why each of these is a game changer, and more importantly, exactly how to use them so you actually see results. Let's start with beets, the humble beet. Most men I talk to tell me they haven't eaten a beet since they were kids, and usually it was the canned kind their mom forced on them at Sunday dinner. I get it. They've got a bad rap. But here's what the research shows, and I've seen this with my own patients time and time again. Beets are loaded with something called dietary nitrates. When you eat them, your body converts those nitrates into nitric oxide. Nitric oxide is what tells your blood vessels to relax and open up. When your blood vessels open up, blood flows easier. When blood flows easier, every single system in your body works better. Your muscles get more oxygen. Your brain gets more oxygen. Your heart doesn't have to work as hard. And yes, the parts of you that depend on good blood flow to function properly, well, they start working properly again too. I had a patient a few years back, a retired firefighter from Jacksonville named Walt. Walt was 68 when he came to see me. He told me he'd stopped going to his grandkids' baseball games because climbing the bleachers left him winded. He told me his wife had stopped expecting much from him in the bedroom, and he'd stopped expecting much from himself. He was ready to just accept it, accept that this was his life now. I didn't give Walt a pill. I didn't send him to a specialist. I told him to drink a small glass of beet juice every morning, about 6 ounces, and to add roasted beets to his dinner 3 times a week. 3 weeks later, Walt calls me. Not comes in. Calls me because he said he couldn't wait for his next appointment. He told me he'd walked 18 holes of golf the day before and wasn't even sore. He told me, and I'll never forget this, that he felt like somebody had turned the lights back on inside him. Now here's the practical stuff, because I heard you loud and clear. You want to know how to actually use this, not just hear me talk about it. For beets, you have a few options. You can buy fresh beets, wrap them in foil, roast them at 400 degrees for about an hour, peel them, slice them up, and put them in salads or eat them as a side. You can buy pre-cooked beets vacuum sealed in the produce section, which saves you the whole messy peeling business. Or you can drink beet juice, which is what I recommend for most of my older patients because it's the fastest way to get those nitrates into your system. Shoot for 6 to 8 ounces a day, preferably in the morning. A lot of folks mix it with a splash of apple juice or lemon to cut the earthy taste. Trust me, you'll get used to it. One quick word of caution. If you're on blood pressure medication, talk to your doctor first. Beets can lower blood pressure, and combined with medication, it might go too low. That's not me trying to scare you. That's me respecting your intelligence and your safety. All right, vegetable number 2, spinach. Now, I know what some of you are thinking. Popeye jokes. I've heard them all. But Popeye was onto something, and modern science has caught up with what every first grader already knew. Spinach is packed with magnesium, folate, iron, and nitrates, just like beets. But what makes spinach special for men over 60 is the magnesium. Most American men your age are walking around magnesium deficient and don't even know it. Magnesium is involved in over 300 processes in your body. It helps your muscles relax after exertion. It helps your nerves fire properly. It helps regulate your testosterone. Yes, you heard me right. Your hormones depend on minerals that most of you aren't getting enough of. Low magnesium shows up as muscle cramps at night, restless legs, poor sleep, anxiety that comes out of nowhere. And yes, low energy and low drive. Sound familiar to anyone? I had another patient, a retired school teacher from St. Louis named Frank, 72 years old. Frank came in complaining that he was waking up 3-4 times a night, couldn't fall back asleep, and then felt like a zombie all day. He tried melatonin. He tried that magnesium powder they sell at the gas station. He tried cutting out caffeine. Nothing worked. I asked Frank what he ate in a typical day: cereal for breakfast, a sandwich for lunch, meat and potatoes for dinner, no vegetables, no greens, nothing. I told Frank to have a cup of fresh spinach at lunch and another cup at dinner, just a cup. Either raw in a salad with a little olive oil and balsamic, or cooked down with some garlic in a pan. 2 weeks later, Frank was sleeping through the night for the first time in 4 years. Here's how to actually use spinach, because I know recipes matter to you and I don't want to leave you guessing. Fresh baby spinach is the easiest. Buy a bag. Throw a handful into your scrambled eggs in the morning. Throw another handful into a smoothie if you're into that, with a banana and some peanut butter. At lunch, use it as the base of a salad instead of iceberg lettuce. At dinner, sauté it with a little olive oil, garlic, and a pinch of salt. It cooks down to nothing in about 2 minutes. Aim for 2 cups of raw spinach or 1 cup of cooked spinach per day. One more word of caution, and this is important. If you're on a blood thinner like warfarin, you need to be consistent with your spinach intake and talk to your doctor. The vitamin K in spinach can interact with those medications. I'm not saying don't eat it, I'm saying be smart about it. Okay, vegetable number 3, sweet potatoes. Now I can already hear some of you. Doc, isn't that a carb? Aren't carbs bad? My buddy told me carbs are the devil. Look, I've been doing this for 25 years, and I've watched nutrition trends come and go. Low fat, low carb, keto paleo, intermittent fasting. Every year there's a new villain. And every year, the actual research keeps pointing back to the same thing. Whole foods, real foods, foods your great-grandfather would recognize. Sweet potatoes are not the enemy. Processed junk food that calls itself carbs is the enemy. There's a huge difference between a baked sweet potato and a bag of potato chips. Sweet potatoes are loaded with beta-carotene, vitamin A, vitamin C, potassium, and fiber. For men over 60, the potassium alone is a game changer because it works with sodium to regulate your blood pressure. The fiber helps with the gut issues that sneak up on a lot of men your age. And the complex carbs give you steady energy throughout the day instead of the crash and burn you get from sugar and white bread. But here's what really caught my attention as a doctor. Sweet potatoes support healthy testosterone production. The vitamin A and the magnesium and the overall nutrient profile, they're like the raw materials your body needs to keep making the hormones that keep you feeling like a man. I had a patient, a Vietnam vet from Austin named Roy. Roy was 74 and told me flat out, "Doc, I feel like a ghost of who I used to be." He had low energy, had gained 30 pounds over the last decade, and had pretty much given up on feeling strong. He didn't want pills, he didn't want hormone replacement therapy, he just wanted to feel like himself again. I gave Roy the same advice I'm giving you today. Beets, spinach, sweet potatoes, plus cutting back on the processed stuff and walking 30 minutes a day. 6 weeks later, Roy came back into my office and I almost didn't recognize him. He'd lost 12 pounds. His color was better. He was standing taller. And the first thing he said to me was, "My wife wants to thank you personally." That's what food can do, folks, when you finally give your body what it's been starving for. Here's how to actually use sweet potatoes in a way that fits your real life. The easiest method? Scrub a sweet potato, poke some holes in it with a fork, stick it in the oven at 400 degrees for 45 minutes to an hour until it's soft. Open it up, add a little butter, a little cinnamon if you like, maybe a pinch of salt. That's dinner. Or cut them into cubes, toss them with olive oil and a little rosemary, and roast them at 425 for 25 minutes. They turn into these caramelized bites that beat any French fry you've ever had. Or, and this is my favorite for older patients, mash them with a little Greek yogurt and garlic. Creamy, savory, packed with protein from the yogurt, loaded with everything I just mentioned from the sweet potato. Aim for about half a medium sweet potato, 4 to 5 times a week. Now let me put this all together for you, because I don't want you walking away from this video feeling overwhelmed. That's the last thing I want. Here's the simple daily routine. In the morning, 6 ounces of beet juice with breakfast. At lunch, a salad or a sandwich with a generous handful of fresh spinach. At dinner, a half sweet potato is your side, 4 or 5 nights a week, and another serving of spinach cooked or raw with your meal. That's it. That's the whole protocol. You don't need to overhaul your entire diet. You don't need to give up your Sunday morning pancakes or your Friday night steak. You just need to add these 3 vegetables in consistently. And I want to be straight with you about timelines, because I respect you too much to sell you a fantasy. Most of my patients start feeling small changes within 7 to 14 days. Better sleep, a little more energy, clearer thinking. The bigger changes, the ones that really restore your sense of being yourself again, those usually show up between week 4 and week 8. So give it a real shot. Give it 60 days, not a week, not 10 days, 60 days. Now, I want to address something that came up in the comments on my last video, because it matters to me that you feel heard. A lot of you wrote to me saying you feel invisible, that our culture talks about men in their 20s and 30s, and men in their 60s and beyond get pushed to the side, that your needs, your struggles, your desire to still feel strong and capable and desired, that it all gets dismissed as vanity or denial. I want you to know something. I see you. After 25 years of this work, I can tell you that the men who walk into my office in their 60s, 70s, and 80s are some of the strongest, most resilient, most interesting people I've ever met. You have stories, you have wisdom, you have families who need you, you have grandkids who light up when you walk in the room. You matter, and you deserve to feel good in your own body, not because you need to look like you're 25, but because you deserve to enjoy the years you've worked so hard to get to. You're not broken. You're not done. You're not past your prime. You're just a man whose body has been running on empty, and today you learned 3 simple ways to start filling the tank again. I'm going to leave you with this. Next week, I'm going to film a follow-up video where I'll show you exactly how to prepare these 3 vegetables step by step, including a couple of recipes my own father uses at age 81. He golfs 3 times a week, walks my mom's golden retriever every morning, and still flirts with her like it's their first date. That's the kind of life I want for all of you. If this video helped you today, do me one favor. Share it with one other man in your life, a friend, a brother, a son who's watching his father age and doesn't know how to help. This isn't secret information. This should be common knowledge, but somewhere along the way, we forgot that food is medicine. Hit subscribe so you don't miss the recipe video coming next week. Leave me a comment and let me know which of these 3 vegetables you're going to start with. And if you've tried any of this before and seen results, tell the other guys in the comments. Your story might be exactly what somebody else needs to hear today. A single cup of spinach, a half a sweet potato, a glass of beet juice. That's all it takes to start. And if no one has told you this in a while, let me say it now. You're still here. You still matter. And your best years are not behind you. They're waiting for you on the other side of a few small changes. Take care of yourselves, everyone. I'll see you next week.